needs to be planned on is on the corrugated steel is measuring from the ridge or measuring from the valley.
1, 2, 3,
Ideal. What was that?
Today we are going to finish installing our tile and then we're going to grout it. We had a few pieces that fell because we didn't have enough of the, I forget exactly what it's called, but the mastic on it. So we'll have to reinstall those ones, and then we have to install our bottom ones because we put in a wood strip there to ensure that we had a level surface all the way across, so that building up it would be nice and level. And then so now we're going to take those out and replace it with tile, and then we're going to do our bullnose pieces, which are these, all the way around. It'll be set like this.
These are kind of like the trim, huh?
Yeah, it's like the trim. That's exactly what they call it. It's the trim, and then it goes all the way around. And then after we do that, we'll have to put the grout in, which goes in between all the lines, which is the final process of installing the tile. So the blade, just the bottom of it hits the water, so when it spins, it sprays the water onto the tile to make sure that it has moisture or wetness when it gets cut, because you can't just cut the tile when it's dry, because it is a rock basically. It's a piece of earth that they just compound and make it into those tiles, so it can't just be cut with a pure blade without any type of water. Yeah, this is for the base of the shower because you want to try to minimize as much debris and materials from getting inside of there. At the end, we'll clean it, of course, but I just want to try to, I probably have to fold it in half. Then what I usually do is I just get something a little heavy and just put it in the corners, or I'll just tape it off. It doesn't matter too much because we don't have our drain connected to anything. It's just stubbed out through the floor. But if this was actually like an actual residential home, when it's connected to the pipes and stuff, when it's first installed, you wouldn't want anything going down that drain, yeah. But we still try to, minimize as much as possible. I'll need to scrape off what is there already though. So I might be able to do it with my knife, but I'll probably have to go get my chisel. It'll probably come off better with my chisel, I believe, because I don't want to take off the red guard behind. Where's my mallet? Well, yeah, I've never done this before, so I'm just trying to see what I believe will be the best way to go about it. I'm trying not to remove like that, you see, I'm trying not to remove the red guard like that. So I'm not sure 100% the best way to go about this. I might just have to, because it's very, I'll probably ask Nelson. I'm gonna ask Nelson real quick, what's the best way to remove that? Where's Nelson at? I'm not sure where Nelson is. I might have to ask Tommy or Rick. Oh, there you are, Nelson. What would be the best way to remove the...
Can you scrape it off with your...
Oh yeah, that probably will work. Thank you. Sand it down? Alrighty. We'll do... So we got 3 different options right here. I got a blade right here where I'll be able to scrape it with. The retention on that is a little hard. And then I have looks like a sponge type. Here, we'll go around. Looks like a sponge, kind of a sanding block. Oh, actually, let's go this way. Blocking this way too. It's a little hard to operate around here. Here, my bad, Bryson. We're gonna have to squeeze past you real quick. No worries, bro. So, yeah, I got a blade, a little like sanding sponge thing, and then just normal sanding paper. I'm gonna try each of them to see which one removes it the best. I feel like the blade will work good as long as you don't go too deep and take off the red guard under it. I feel like the blade might be the best. Yeah, you want to make sure it's just like scraping off the surface. You don't want it to dig too deep into it. Honestly, it's coming off with not too much effort. It's not that sticky to it right now because it's just a little bit of it, so it's not too bad right now. It's just more having to make sure you're doing it correctly. Yeah, this was my first time doing tiles, so I'm actually pretty. It's not good, of course, to have any tiles fall off, but it is surprising that I only had this many. It's only these ones and then these ones. I didn't have enough coverage of the mastic across the wall. It looked like I had good coverage right here, but apparently not. Right here I could tell a little bit more that it was lacking, but right here it looks a little better to me, but I must have just needed to put a little bit more, or maybe press on it a little. Maybe I didn't press hard enough down on these, because after you install the tiles, you have to make sure that you press down on them and make sure that it gets a good bond with the mastic. Yeah, they fell off when I came in today. They were just on the floor. I might be able to just do it like this. So I'm gonna see if one of these other methods will work a little bit better than the knife. The knife is working good, but it's a little hard to get into this small of a space. I don't know if this one is. I think one of these ones might be able to. So it's definitely getting it off good, but it's still a very small area that you're working with, so it's a little difficult. A little harder to make sure you don't cut too deep with the blade. With the sanding paper, you don't have to worry about that. With this, I have to make sure I don't cut into the red guard beneath it.
Each house gets a pocket door in it and 2 bypass closet doors on it. So here's how they come. They come in this just primed fashion. They're all the same, whether it's a pocket or a bypass. We're doing the same door on each, but they need to be painted. So over here we've set up our painting station, and they have a little shim. Yeah.
Go ahead and show me.
Yeah, over here we're painting them. We have the shim up top to hold them off the side. We paint the front, then we flip them around, and then we paint the back and the sides. So it really makes it easy. And then we let them dry. After we let them dry here for about 20 minutes, we take them over to our station here. And this is where we're gonna let them get solid, and they'll finish drying over here. And so it allows us to keep moving with the process of getting the doors painted. And then once they're painted, they can hang them. And so here's our track. This is our closet track. It'll go on the top of the door opening, and then it's got these wheels that are going to attach to the top, and they'll attach those, and then those will be those bypass closet doors.
So they are those closet doors that only hang from the track up top?
Yeah. And
no track on the bottom?
On the bottom's just this little guide that keeps them in next to each other so they don't swing out. But that's just basic. And then they'll also install one of these as a pocket door. So
what is the pocket door? What is that?
Pocket door is going in the doorway to the bathroom. They put in that frame early on, and they'll have to put wheels on it, and then they'll put it in. We'll put some trim around it and get it all set. But had to get them painted first before they can do anything else.
And let's go see the crevice for the pocket.
Yeah, for sure. Come on over.
That's what it's working, correct?
Yeah.
Light coming out.
Yeah, we'll go in number 2. They have a light on. So your pocket door is going to go right in here. Yeah, and so we'll trim it out. And then in here, if you want to back up into the bedroom, our closet, this sits right up in this opening. We'll cut it to size that we need and sits right up here. What?
You cut the metal track.
Yeah, we cut the track to the size we need. Yep. So it has little holes to screw it in every so often, but so this one, we'll cut it off right about there and then get our wheels on our doors, put the doors in, and then we'll place that little plastic piece down in the middle to keep them in a kind of a track.
I'm gonna have to take off this. I think I'm gonna have to take off this one. It's fitting good, but it's a little too tight right here. I think I'm gonna have to. I think it is. It might still be too tight. I think what it is this piece was a little too tight, and that's what ended up pushing this out. Yeah, it is. So I just have to cut off that little bit right here. Yeah, it's very, very small amount. When you're doing this, you're supposed to, the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to fit a piece into a hole. And I need to make sure that it gets pressed down like that properly so it's flat. That's where my problem was before. So now I'll just have a slightly bigger grout line right here, which will be okay.
It feels better.
Yeah, it feels better. Before there was like an edge sticking up right here, and you can tell because you want these all to be nice and as level as you can get them. Before there's an edge sticking up. I did not want that. And then you just want to make sure you clean out your lines. Yeah, and you want to leave that open for the grout. With this cut, you could slightly tell, like you can tell that I did have to cut right here, but it's very slight. And then once we fill this in with grout, you'll barely be able to tell. Especially because it's over here in the corner. That's a combination of the razor blade and the sander worked pretty good to get this as flat as I basically could. Because you don't want any of the mastic left behind when you're trying to install a new tile, because it's gonna affect it. It's gonna make it. It can make it sit up in one corner or another, and that's not what you want.
So for those pieces, what happens?
You just get a full piece, and you butt it up to the wall, and you see where it needs to be cut down here, and then you just mark it. You want to leave a little bit of space. You don't want it to be exact. You want to leave a little bit of space because there's going to be a grout line in between these, about an 1/8 inch grout line. So you want to try to make this about you want to try to make it about an 1/8 smaller than what you're seeing right here. So mark it right there, about an 1/8 smaller. Then I go like that, so I know that this is the side that I'm throwing away, and this is my keep side, or not throwaway side, but this will be my scrap piece that I can maybe use for later. And sometimes I do that, but this sink is a little, and it helps you set it to about where you need it to be. Then you lock it in place. Yeah, just to clean it off a little bit. We'll clean it at the end as well. And then I just want to dry fit it, make sure it's fitting nice. Yes, it is. That's what I want right there. So then I get a little bit of this mastic. And what you usually do is you apply it straight to the wall, but because we can't apply it to the wall because the area is so small, we're just gonna apply it straight to the back of our piece of tile.
Like putting butter on toast.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's called. It's actually called butter in the back of it. And you just get some put on there, and then you want to keep the motion when you're installing tile. You want to make sure that the lines are horizontal with the way that the tile is being installed. So you want the lines to go this way, so then
So it attaches better?
yeah, when it's that way, it allows the air that gets trapped between here gets pressed out better than if you were to do it this way or squiggly or whatever. It's a pretty specific way that you have to do it. It's practically to make sure that the air behind it doesn't get trapped, because if it gets trapped, it can make the tile eventually push up. Well, right now I'm scribing the piece. This is called scribing. And then after I scribe it, I dry fit it. So then now, same process, get some of this mastic. Don't need too much when you're only doing a single piece. Spread it onto the back. This thing is really dainty. It's hard to like hold with just my few fingers. Then I'll clean it up some more, but yeah, you want to make sure you clean it up when you do put it on. Extra on the corners as much as possible, because I'll just make it less when I push it down. With this tool, it's called a float. And you use it to press down on the tile, and it makes it press down the way it needs to get. And then you still have to check it, make sure it's where it needs to be. How's that looking? It's looking good. It's looking real good. Liking it now. I'm about to install the piece for right there. Now we'll just put on some more mastic on the back of this. This will be our last replacement tile, and then we'll have to install these bottom tiles still. It's not done with tiling yet, but it'll be easier with these other ones because we won't have to work with such a small, it will be a small area, but we'll have to remove the mastic off the wall, which is pretty annoying to be honest. I'll never make that mistake again.
You said it was just too little mastic.
Yeah, it must have just been too little mastic. It was my first time installing it, so I wasn't 100% sure how much I needed. I thought I was getting good coverage, but I guess I just needed to have just a little bit more. And it's a lesson I learned, and I will definitely remember it. Wow, just like that.
It feels good?
Yes, sir. Feels good, looks good, is good. A little wipe. Go press. Make sure it doesn't fall down again. I think what might have happened here was either the pieces might have just been a little bit too big, so they popped out of place, or there was too much mass or too little mastic. It's one of the two. Not 100% sure which one it was. But those are both two instances where it could have. I believe right here, it was too little space because I had to grind a little bit off right here to be able to install this piece. But these pieces, I think there was either too little mastic or it just wasn't pressed down properly. I'm just kind of pushing a little bit, trying to make sure that these lines line up as good as I can. They're not going to be 100%, but you want to try to get them as good as you can. Now I got to let it dry before I'm able to install the grout. We'll do the grout probably in a few hours once everything dries. And in the meantime, I'll probably come out here and work on some of the shiplap caulking and then installing like my Z metal and maybe doing some electrical as well. Just trying to finish these up.
Elijah, so it was kind of a good thing that those tiles flopped out on you, because you learned that, as you mentioned in there, either certain tiles were a little too big and they popped out, or not enough mastic, or a combination of both, right? But you learned something, right?
Yes, sir, most definitely. That's the whole point of this program, is for you to make mistakes while you're doing stuff, because I've never done it before. A lot of stuff I haven't done before, same with a lot of the classmates. So you need to make those mistakes to be able to learn from them, or either see your classmates make mistakes and then learn from those mistakes. And then you'll be able to improve your performance in the future when you're doing whatever work you're doing.
And again, it all goes back to the same thing, right? Like, they're not mistakes. They're just something that you learned in a different way.
Yeah, honestly, you have to really take all your mistakes as lessons, because you have to just make sure you learn from them. You can't beat yourself up. You can't just put your head down and not want to do it just because you made a mistake. You have to learn from your mistake, fix it, and get it done right.
Would you be this strong of a tradesman without those mistakes?
No, not at all. If you never make the mistakes, then you don't see what can go wrong. If you never see what can go wrong in something, you're always going to think it's flawless and it's going to be able to go exactly how you plan. And that's not how stuff goes in construction. There's always stuff that you're going to have to change and work around. So you need to be able to make these mistakes and see these things to grow your knowledge when you are confronted with these type of problems.